Craving the coffee flavor you love, but without the caffeine? Kachava's got you covered with their newest coffee flavor. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold, authentic flavor, crafted from premium decaffeinated Brazilian beans. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to kachava.com and use code NEWS. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NEWS.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word SHOW to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word SHOW, SHOW, to 33777. Text SHOW to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Greetings, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here this Holy Thursday. Sunday's coming. It's a great time for you to go to church this weekend if you're thinking about it. Show up early. There'll probably be a crowd. It's Easter. Happy Easter to all of you. The Good Friday show is tomorrow. If you go to ericerickson.com, you can find a local affiliate. You can find links to the 24/7 live stream and to the podcast. We'll have a modified version of the show on podcast, in large part because the music we play during the show can't be in podcast form or you'll get blocked. So you got to prepare for that. But you can listen to the live stream and you can listen to the live show around the country on affiliates tomorrow. Bishop Robert Barron, the Catholic Church, Doug Wilson of Christ Church in Moscow, Idaho, and Matt Smothers from Riverbend Church in Richmond, Virginia will all be joining me on the program this year. On Monday, I'll have John Deloney with me. John F. Kennedy said, "We choose to go to the moon not because it's easy, but because it's hard." We have chosen again to go to the moon. Progressives in America these days are really, really fixated on colonialism, and they're anti-colonialist. Around the world, the progressives in postmodernism are anti-colonial. Their logic is that whoever came to a land first, except the Jews, take the land. And if you come into the land after it has been settled by other people, that you are a colonizer and you should apologize and possibly give the land back, or at least acknowledge those who came before you, the Oompa Loompa tribe and the Homanoma tribe. They all came before you, therefore you're the colonizer, the oppressor. Based on the logic of the progressive left, the United States of America is the indigenous people of the moon. We were there first, and we are going home to our moon. This is not Canada's moon, though by the graciousness of our nation and God, we are taking a Canadian with us. But the moon belongs to America. There are 5 American flags on the moon. There are footsteps on the moon belonging to Americans. You know how amazed progressives are when they find the fossilized footprint of an American Indian from 10,000 years ago on a beach in Oregon or Washington State. Well, we got the footprints of Americans on the moon. Behold, it is ours. We are not the colonizers. We're the indigenous people of the moon, people. I saw somebody from Vox.com yesterday put up a piece and declared that the colonizing the moon by the United States could be a violation of international law. You will not be surprised this person had her pronouns in her Twitter bio. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a timeless rule that will never fail you, and that is never take seriously a person who puts their pronouns in their Twitter bio. If you see someone with their pronouns in a signature line or a Twitter bio or anywhere else, that person is a deeply unserious person and probably mentally ill. I had somebody apply for a job a while back that had their pronouns in their signature line in their email. I hit delete. I wasn't even going to look at the resume of the person. There is no way on God's good earth anyone is mentally sane if they put their pronouns in a Twitter bio or a signature line. And if you do, you are the nut job. You need to understand this. And if I'm offending you right now, you might need to be offended with some hard truths. If you put your pronouns in your email signature line, your LinkedIn page, your Twitter bio, you are a deeply unserious person, and the rest of us laugh at you behind your back. And one of those people argued that America going to the moon and colonizing it could be a violation of international law. No, based on the rules set forth by you progressives, we're the indigenous people of the moon, and we're just going home. I want to play for you a piece of audio. And I want you to listen to this entire piece of audio. You will hear a few people cheer. And then you will hear amazing things. This is 1 minute. Credit where it's due. This is Pete Muntean of CNN, who stood out among the crowd and captured Artemis II soaring into the heavens.
3, 2, 1.
Keep listening, people. Keep listening.
Roll maneuver beginning. Look at that.
Is that not an incredible sound? That rocket soaring out beyond the atmosphere, picking up speed, getting to thousands of miles an hour to overcome gravity, to go beyond the atmosphere out into space where other men are in orbit, and then to go beyond those other men out of orbit to the moon. I wonder if those who don't believe we landed on the moon in the 60s will believe that we are there now, or is it all CGI? Some people just don't want to believe that we can do this. Some people don't want to believe in the greatness of America. Some people want to hate it. Some people look upon this and they think, what a waste of money. I look upon the expanse of space and say, what a waste that we're not there. We're headed to the moon. The world is a complicated place. The world can be a scary place. I speak to you now with a world at war, the Russians in Ukraine, the United States and Israel and Arab nations against Iran, China trying to move around it all, anxiety in this country over the headlines of the day. Gas prices are up, beef prices are up, your costs are up, your anxieties are up, your worry is up. And we are out there. We're not just here. What an insane, remarkable time to be alive. We're headed to the moon for the first time since 1972. And yesterday I told you I support the mission. I think it's a great idea. I actually think it's money well spent to inspire, to lift up, to drive us to be better, to go higher, to go further than we've ever been. The research we get from these projects then goes into commercial application over time, and we benefit. The science for us to go to the moon transcends to us in various ways, economically, militarily, technologically, over time. I think it's all good, but at the end of the day, I think the thing that's the greatest good is the inspiration of it. We are a world at war at home, and out there in the vacuum of space, there's peace. 3 Americans and a Canadian headed to circle the moon, going further out beyond the moon than ever we have gone before. We put a graphic in the show notes today. Now, I hope you'll consider texting Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 so you can get this. You know, we're not actually going to the moon. We're not actually going to the moon. We have sent our astronauts into space on a trajectory to reach a point in space where we have calculated that the moon will be when they get there. They're not actually headed to where the moon is. The moon is in orbit around the planet, and the astronauts are headed to an empty point in space where by the time they arrive at it in several days from now, the moon will actually be. And they will use the gravity of the moon to then slingshot themselves around the moon and head back to land in the ocean off the west coast of the United States. A 10-day mission. The physics of this are impressive. They will slingshot around our planet. They've completed 1 lap around the planet. They're on the verge of completing a second lap. And each time they do, the gravity forces them as they swing past the Earth to pick up speed. And in picking up speed, then they fire their thrusters and they realign themselves to head out to this point in space where by the time they get there, based on their rate of speed, the moon will be. And they will then use the moon to turn around and come home. They'll orbit not low over the moon. When last we orbited low over the moon, we got within 8 miles of the surface. We'll go further out and we'll use rockets and fuel to push ourselves around and come home. It's a remarkable accomplishment that mankind has been able to do. But not just mankind, the United States of America. We do this. No other nation has done this. We're the ones who set foot on the moon. Other nations want to. China claims to. China insists that it will. They haven't. We have. And we're doing it again. The rest of the world kind of stands in awe of it. They want to criticize it. They, too, will say it's a waste of money. The Chinese will scoff at it. A lot of countries looked on in awe of this. Maybe not at us, but at the astronauts. I feel bad for the astronauts. There's a black man and a woman, and I'm sure they are so tired of being referred to as the first black man and the first woman to go to the moon. They're astronauts. They are not there because of the color of their skin or their gender. They're there because of their talent and their skill. They're there because they're astronauts. They're there because they chose to want to go to the moon. The commander of this flight is without his wife. She died. He leaves behind 2 young kids, and the young kids told him, go. I want you to think about that for a moment. This man who got on board a rocket on top of a giant barrel of fuel that was going to be lit to propel him outside the gravity of our planet into the vacuum of space, leaves behind 2 kids who have no mother, and those kids said, Dad, you go. We're a pretty awesome country. We are a pretty awesome country with amazing, amazing people. And we are so used to talking down ourselves. There's an arrogance that can come from talking yourself up too much, and we should be careful with that as well. But so much of it in this day and age now is people just bad-mouthing the United States, bad-mouthing the people of the United States, a refusal to recognize the goodness and virtue of so many Americans. And yet, these kids told their dad, go. And he went. And he did not go per se for all mankind, though all mankind is inspired. He went on a rocket with a giant American flag on it, going where only this nation has gone before, back to our other home. We're not the colonizers. We're the indigenous species of the moon. And we've gone back to check on it, and then they'll turn around and they will come home within 10 days. What an amazing time to be alive. Breaking news, breaking news. This is actually big breaking news. The President of the United States has officially informed Pam Bondi she is out as Attorney General. Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, will be the interim Attorney General. The President has also been talking to Lee Zeldin of the EPA about possibly moving him into the role of Attorney General. Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States, will be transitioned out of the AG's office. They will move her to a different position within the Trump administration. The president informed Pam Bondi last night before the Iran speech that she would be out as Attorney General. There are several side stories coming out at this moment that the president believes that Pam Bondi has mishandled several investigations from the AG's office, including that into Eric Swalwell, the Democratic candidate for governor in California, the current congressman. This Department of Justice has been investigating his ties to that Chinese spy Fang Fang, and the president, according to multiple press reports, believes that Bondi let word leak out in ways he did not like, so that Swalwell was tipped off, among other things. Deep unhappiness with the president over Pam Bondi, also on her handling of the Epstein files, believing she actually made the situation worse, which she actually did. So that's happening now. Pam Bondi out as Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche to step in, and the president looking at Lee Zeldin of the EPA possibly to take Bondi's spot. No guarantees for sure on that one. And again, those of you who listen to me, not surprised that all of this happened, because I've been telling you for a while he's been unhappy with her performance. And a lot of it is the Epstein stuff. The president thinks she totally mishandled the rollout of the document. She totally mishandled it in the beginning when she was on Fox News talking about she had the Epstein list on her desk. There never was a list like she claimed. It just gave the president a black eye. It was an unforced error that didn't hurt Bondi so much as it hurt the president. So it's probably a good thing she's gone. She has not been a great attorney general. But can you imagine? Just think about this. She was the person they put in because Matt Gaetz was the alternative. Yeah. Wild, wild, wild. All right, we got more to talk about when we come back. The phone number, 877-973-7425. I will take your calls as soon as we come back before we move on to the Act Blue story. But you got to hear about the Act Blue story. Been on this one, too, for quite a while, and everybody thought I was crazy. No, I wasn't. Turns out I was right. But first, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them and save $200. EdenPureDeals.com is the website you wish to go to. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code is ERIC3. You can get 3 of them, save $200. They have a money-back guarantee. Now, they're an air purifier, so get rid of dust and pollen and things like that. They even kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. Where they shine is odor elimination. And if they don't eliminate odors, you get a money-back guarantee. See the site for details. You can get one for upstairs, downstairs, your basement. You can get one for your RV. I keep one in my travel bag. They're small. They're very portable. You can plug it in with a USB cord or plug it into the wall, and they just eliminate odors. They generate ozone and they wipe out odors. I've used them in rental cars to wipe out smoke odors. I've used them in hotel rooms when people next door had been smoking or their hotel room smelled bad for different reasons. Looking at you down there in Amelia. And they wipe out odors and they work. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3. EdenPureDeals.com. Check out the website, the money back guarantee, and get you 3 of these things. Start wiping out odors wherever they may be. They really do work. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Patty. All right, Patty, in Connecticut, you've got to tell me, how do I pronounce the name of your town?
Naugatuck.
Naugatuck?
Naugatuck.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome.
Yep.
How are you? Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you. Thank you for all you do. Love your messages in the morning. They're inspirational. I wanted to say I think it is imperative for the president to finish the job in Iran. He needs to achieve the goals as planned to avoid major disruptions to trade routes, oil, natural gas, fertilizer that will affect the stock market, the bond market, energy prices throughout the world. It's imperative we follow this. We will be very sorry that we didn't. China wants us to fail, and be careful what you wish for.
I'm glad you make this point. There seems to be a consensus out there among a lot of the president's supporters who maybe didn't want him to go into Iran, but now realize we got to finish the job. If we get out of this, we've got a tiger by its tail. If we haven't declawed it and defanged it, we're going to get mauled by it, and the rest of the world will too. We've got to make sure that the Iranians' regime crumbles. That's what Saudi Arabia wants. It's what the UAE wants. It's what Bahrain wants. It's what Egypt wants and Jordan wants. It's what Israel actually doesn't even want that. Israel just wants them to be in disarray. It's the Arab neighbors who want Iran to be completely crumbled. So here's something you probably don't understand. And again, I realize I grew up over there, have a little more knowledge on this part. So Mecca is the holiest place in Islam. It's one of the things, as an aside, that makes Christianity unique is that there's no geographic anchor for Christianity. Because we worship a man, you can be anywhere worshiping the man. But Mecca is the holiest center, just as Jerusalem is for Jews. Mecca is for Muslims. And Saudi Arabia is considered by the Islamic world to be the custodian of Mecca. The custodian means they're not the owner of Mecca. They have to allow any Muslim to go to Mecca. And Saudi Arabia's fear is that if Iran descends into chaos with the regime still in place because it has fought with the United States and sided with the United States, they can't keep the Iranians out of Mecca. So you've got to wipe out this regime to protect Saudi Arabia. They want this regime gone. The Israeli position is let's just have them fighting each other in a civil war. That's good for us. They'll be distracted. And Saudi Arabia's like, no, you don't understand. The regime has to go now. You've gone this far. The regime's got to go, or else it's bad for everybody in the Middle East, particularly Saudi Arabia, during the Hajj when the pilgrims go to Mecca. And they're right on this, by the way. You can say whatever terrible thing you want to say about Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. He is dead on accurate in his assessment that the regime now has to fall. You've pushed this far. You've got to keep pushing. Otherwise, it's going to be bad for everybody. It's going to be really bad for Saudi Arabia. And they are our strong ally. Mohammed bin Salman is a great American ally. He had the opportunity to be wooed by China and turned his back on China for the United States. We should support him and that regime. Tony, you're up next. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. Tony, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon, Eric. I'm a big fan, and I support you completely everything you said about space. I'd like to share with you that on the afternoon and evening of July 21st, 1969, I sat in my living room, or our living room, with my grandmother, and we watched Men Walk on the Moon, Buzz and Neil and Buzz. My grandmother was born in 1888. She was 15 years old. She was 15 years old when the Wright brothers first flew in December of 1903. Less than 66 years later, she watched Men Walk on the Moon. Now, she was born in Italy, and her English was a little bit broken, but she watched in wonder. And when you reflect upon what she saw in her lifetime, there were no automobiles, there were no airplanes, there was no internet, there was no computers, et cetera. And she watched Men Walk on the Moon. To this day, watching Artemis 2 launch last night, I got chills thinking about my grandmother. And I wanted to share that with you.
That, I'm glad you did. And, for people to understand this rate of accomplishment, it literally was 66 years between the Wright brothers taking off at Kitty Hawk and Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. That's it. That statistic should blow your mind. They took off December 17th, 1903 at Kitty Hawk for the first time successfully. And on July 20th, 1969, we landed on the moon. 66 years. Just insane. And your grandmother got to witness that entire evolution from no cars to landing on the moon. What what a time to be alive if you were from that age. My grandfather, by the way, was born in 1900, and so very similarly in rural South Mississippi, the Louisiana area, and out in the country, went from 1900 no plumbing to watching people land on the moon in the 19s. It just and we're the only nation to be able to pull it off. It's just what a remarkable thing. What a remarkable. Also, what a great memory for you to have that with your grandmother.
Eric, I have one more thing.
Okay.
My parents, my grandparents were born in Italy, so were my parents. My grandfathers emigrated in the late 1920s legally, and they were sponsored, and then they worked as laborers in the New York area and saved up enough money to be able to sponsor my grandmothers and my mom and dad and my aunts and uncles. My father he was awarded a Purple Heart in France in 1944. My mother became American citizen first while she was studying and while she was interacting with government agencies. She had to bring an interpreter with her to interact with government agencies. My father became an American citizen. My mother was an American citizen. I had 4 children. All 4 children are college graduates. My sister and I both have advanced degrees. I served in the United States Navy for 20 years and retired as a fairly senior officer. All of my parents' grandchildren, all of my nieces and nephews and my daughter all graduated from college. And now their great-grandchildren are on their way.
Wow. All right, Tony, I got to ask you a personal question. And you know how my mind works. You've listened long enough. I bet you had amazing meals in your house.
Oh, sir, we did. We did. And
oh, my gosh. Italians, you people know how to cook better than anybody. Forget the French. Italian food is where it's at.
Well, I agree, sir. And I really appreciate what you do. And I respect your opinions. We agree far more than we ever disagree, and I'm glad you are on the radio. And I did get a chance to talk with Rush, too. So now I've got 2 of my favorite people in your business that I've spoken with.
Well, Tony, listen, thank you for your service and for the phone call. What a great memory. And, yeah, man, Italian immigrants, I love Italian food. I love Italians. It is also one of the greatest countries I have ever been to on planet Earth. I mean, you kick over a stone in Italy and you're likely to find something that's 2,000 years old or older. It's just such a cool country with just the greatest people. I mean, I love Italy, and Italian food is just phenomenal. Now I'm hungry. Thank you, Tony, so much for the phone call and a great memory. Bill, the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Welcome, sir. How are you?
How are you, Eric? This is
Great.
Big Beautiful Bill from the Eastern Shore.
Thanks for calling.
Hey, Eric, will the Supreme Court ever kind of come to a decision that because of historical facts that children that were born are in fact citizens, but from now on, anybody illegally in the United States will not have that right to have their child born here?
You know, I don't know that they will do it. It would be called prospective. Moving forward, we're not going to remove the citizenship of people who came before the decision, but people after. Listen, right. I really think we have a problem with, for example, the birth tourism of the Chinese, and I think the Supreme Court's got to recognize the issue. At the same time, my sense from the decision yesterday is that they may actually carve out some additional exceptions on birthright citizenship, or say Congress can. But it really does, having gone back and listened to the full argument and gone through some of the transcript of it as well overnight, I suspect we're going to see a more divided court than I originally expected. I think they're going to uphold birthright citizenship in the country, but I think they're going to make it clear that Congress can grant exceptions. And also, I've got to say this. Part of the argument from the right on the case yesterday was that, well, the founders didn't contemplate this birth tourism and the wave of illegal aliens. And the people who wrote the 14th Amendment didn't contemplate these things. Okay, I think you're right. Amend the Constitution. Relying on the Supreme Court to suddenly reinterpret a provision of the Constitution because the founders didn't contemplate something. The founders didn't contemplate a lot, and so they allowed an amendment provision into the Constitution. What I suspect the court is going to do is realize that it's such a huge burden to amend the Constitution. We'll just say Congress can do it because there is an empowerment clause in the 14th Amendment. Section 5 gives Congress the power to enforce it. And so I think they'll use that to say Congress can make extra exceptions, and Congress should act on the birthright or the birth tourism stuff, and frankly on the illegal alien stuff as well. Arlene, you're going to be next. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, hi, Eric. How are you? It's been a long
I'm great.
time. I just want to let you know I'm enjoying your program, and thanks for the positiveness for the president's speech. I am a Trump supporter, and I want to say you're one of the best at WSB. You get it right, and I want to thank you for that. Happy Easter, and say hello to your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arlene. I appreciate it. I am stunned you made it past the call screener. He occasionally lets people come on and say nice things about me. Occasionally. I appreciate it, Arlene. Happy Easter to you as well. Yeah, look, I try to call it as I see it. And so let me just very briefly touch on this story because, y'all, I'm going to make some people mad here at the top of the next hour when we get into the Paula White stuff. Oh, heretic. Going all the way back to my time at Red State, when I was the editor of Red State, I have been sounding the alarm on Act Blue, which is the fundraising portal for the Democrats. It became very clear when Barack Obama ran for president in 2008 that a lot of people from abroad were donating through Act Blue. And Act Blue insisted it was not true. They yelled at us. The media called us conspiracy theorists. They said it wasn't true. This is from the New York Times today. Huge story. In early 2025, a law firm working for Act Blue, the Democrat fundraising behemoth, delivered the organization a startling warning. The firm concluded that Act Blue's chief executive had given a potentially misleading response to congressional Republican investigators in a 2023 letter explaining how the organization vetted donations to ensure they were not illegally coming from foreign citizens. The letter from the chief executive, Regina Wallace-Jones, said Act Blue carried out multi-layered screening of contributions that helped root out those from overseas. In fact, the law firm found some of the steps she described were not always followed. This presents a substantial risk for Act Blue, the law firm Covington and Burling wrote in one of two memos expressing legal concerns. One memo raised the specter of a criminal investigation if prosecutors believed Act Blue had tried to conceal facts about its efforts to prevent foreign donations. Federal election law prohibits foreign citizens or people who are not permanent residents from donating directly to federal campaigns or political action committees. Lying to or obstructing Congress is a crime. The memos instigated a meltdown at the highest levels of Act Blue, one of the Democratic Party's most vital financial organizations. A series of top officials resigned in quick succession. The New York Times revealed those departures last year, but a key cause of the tumult at Act Blue, the legal warnings about potentially misleading Congress, is being reported for the first time. Act Blue is now all but declaring war on its own past lawyers, an extraordinary turn of events at a moment when President Trump has already ordered a Department of Justice investigation into the organization. Democrats are nervous that any additional upheaval at Act Blue could destabilize the party's critical fundraising apparatus ahead of the midterm elections. All levels of Democratic candidates use Act Blue to raise campaign money, from incumbent presidents to school board aspirants. It's a huge problem, y'all. We wrote about this at Red State years ago with Barack Obama. It was very clear people could use gift cards to make donations. They didn't have to be in this country. They didn't have to have their citizenship verified. And we were assailed by Act Blue. We got angry letters. We got threats. It's been happening the whole time. And they have lied to the United States Congress about it. And I got to just say, kudos to the New York Times for exposing this level of stuff from Act Blue. You would think they'd circle the wagons, but it's too big a story to ignore. The Democrats, from using NGOs to funnel money out to Democratic partisan organizations to relying on donors abroad, has been deeply corrupted. The media focuses on Republican corruption. There is Republican corruption, but they always give a pass to the Democrats, who have been funding candidates for office with foreign donors and then lied to Congress about it, so it seems from this reporting. Hello there. Welcome. Oh, that's cool. Charlie just sent me this text from his mom. When her grandfather turned 82, he climbed on a horse, looked up at the night sky, and said, "When we were kids, we talked about the man in the moon. I never thought I'd live to actually see a man land on the moon." He had been born in 1887. That really, y'all, that blows my mind. 66 years from Kitty Hawk to the moon. 66 years. Just think about that span. Think about what has happened in your life in 66 years, in the life of this nation. We lifted off a machine heavier than air into the air on a beach, and 66 years later, lifted off a rocket heavier than that out of the gravity of this planet to the stars, to the moon, landed, and brought those people home safely. 66 years. We are on the cusp of game-changing AI and technology in this country and around the world, but 66 years to go from Kitty Hawk to the moon, that really blows my mind to think it wasn't hundreds of years to do that. It was less than a century, less than 3/4 of a century, 2/3 of a century to go from liftoff at Kitty Hawk. I mean, and even take the moon landing out of it. We went from Kitty Hawk to World War II with by the end of the war with jets and not just propeller, but it's just the development that this country has done technologically over time has been incredible. Meanwhile, the Chinese are still on diesel-powered aircraft carriers. They can't even get a nuclear powered aircraft carrier out to sea. Just remarkable what we've been able to accomplish. I need to tell you about my friends at Incogni, and I got data to back it up now for you. INCOGNI, Incogni.com/Eric, ERICK. Save 60%. Incogni has gotten my family's personal information off 324 different data broker websites so far, and they're still at it. They can do the same for you. You go to Incogni.com/Eric, and Incogni can make sure data brokers stop selling your information. Some data brokers out there are able to get your medical, like prescription drugs. Insurance companies buy it from those data brokers so they can mark up your life insurance and other insurance costs. Incogni gets all of it taken off the internet. They work behind the scenes sending takedown notices. They follow up persistently. They make sure it comes down. Incogni.com/Eric, INCOGNI, Incogni.com/Eric. Remember, ERICK, save 60%. Incogni will get you private online. The data brokers can't find you. Incogni.com/Eric.